Hello, welcome to Virtual Walks with Rick, and we are going to continue our conversation of yesterday with Margaritas. Now, I have my suntan lotion on, but I'm also going to put on my hat because my poor thinning hair. Oh, maybe I should have put the hat on first. We don't want to burn our head. All right, so here we are on this awesome trail. Now, I had some audio problems yesterday. My new audio, I have to start with this. I'm sorry, I'm just such a tech geek. Nobody cares, but I ordered some new audio equipment, so it'll be awesome. But see, there's no wind today, so I could probably get away with using the camera microphone. But I just know it's going to be windy later. Anyway, I don't know what happened, but the audio just messed up at the end. And I can't use like half the footage I shot yesterday. So anyway, part of that footage was Margaritas. So so first of all, this is a virtual walk. There'll be 5-minute marks. So if you want to stand up from your computer or wherever you're watching this and kind of walk in place with me, or if you just want to sit down and kind of move your arms, awesome. Let's get some exercise in and take this lovely virtual walk with me. I know it's the same trail as yesterday, but I'm going to try to spice it up and go on a different trail. They branch off, these main trails branch off, so we're going to see what happens. But anyway, well, see, the sun is on that side, so I really should put my hat like this because the sun is on that side. But that might make me look stupid. There's a little more pollution today than there was yesterday, but that's Saddleback Ridge. So we were talking, so just to catch up. Okay, I was a bartender at 21. Now, I've made a mistake. I said that I turned 21 when I was 91, but it was really 90. 1990 is when I turned 21. Because I'm born in 69, so all my birthdays, even this one, so I'm 50, it's 2020, I'm 50, so that's zeros, you know what I mean? Like 20, 0. So like, just pick a number. 74, I was 4. 87, I was 17, you know, stuff like this. It's easy for me to remember. So my birthday's in September, so most of the year, like 9 months out of the year, I am the number coinciding with the date. Like for when I'm 21, it's 91. So anyway, I kind of messed that up because I actually turned 21 in 1990. And so for September, October, November, December, I was actually 21. So that's when I started bartending. Okay, now that we got that cleared up. So I went to the Colorado Bartending Academy, if you remember. We learned a lot of stuff. We learned about where things come from, like where the whiskeys come from, where the vodkas come from, how they make, you know, beer and wine and all this stuff. And then we tested our skills, and we did very fast memory paces. There's the moon up there. We did, if you can see it, I don't know if I can make it go up. There's the moon. Anyway, so we, bicycles, oh my gosh. So they would give us like 3 different drinks, and we would have to memorize them and do them really quick. But one of the things we learned there was about speakeasies, and when Prohibition happened, all of a sudden, all of the alcohol, the good quality alcohol, was not being produced anymore, and there wasn't any bars or restaurants. So they kind of had to go underground. Well, they would make their own rum and gin and all this, like bootleggers, you know, like think backwoods Virginia. They would make like bootleg gin, and they would have gin runners, I think is what they called them. But anyway, they would bring them to the big cities, and they would have them in speakeasies, which were like, I don't know, a false wall behind a bank or in the basement of wherever. They would just hide from the police, these speakeasies. So the alcohol quality of these, it was so bad that they made up cocktails. They made up different drinks. They put different mixers in them and called them funny things, like a bee sting, or, you know, just all these funny names. Look them up. I mean, I had a book. There was over 1,000 drinks. It was ridiculous. And I'm like, how am I supposed to memorize all these dumb drinks? So at the bartending academy, they only taught us a few drink names and such. But it doesn't really matter. Nobody orders drinks like that anymore. They just really don't. They order, I'll have a vodka soda, I'll have a Jack and Coke, I'll have a gin and tonic. I mean, they just don't order drinks like that anymore. And if they did, they would just name the ingredients. They wouldn't say a Bay Breeze. They would say, I'll have a vodka with cranberry and a little pineapple. They just wouldn't use the name anymore. It's just one of those things that's kind of fading away. Like maybe a Mai Tai and an old fashioned, stuff like that. Anyway, I thought it was important at the time to learn the drink names and everything and give me confidence, which it did. It totally did. So I started being a bartender at the Hyatt. Anyway, so we were talking about margaritas. Now, the original margarita, I think this is where the audio messed up yesterday, so I'm just going to continue. So the original margarita, I'm not exactly sure where it was made. I think it was a hotel, but the original margarita was made out of tequila, lime juice, fresh lime juice, agave syrup. Agave syrup is the agave plant. Kind of looks like, you know, just this big plant, agave plant. They you know, beat the syrup out of it, and out of that syrup, it's agave syrup. They ferment it and make tequila out of it. So that's where we get tequila from. But so if you stop the process before it ferments, it's this agave syrup it's like honey. It has a unique flavor. It doesn't taste like honey, but it's got a unique flavor. But it's a sticky consection. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of that word. I'll remember it anyway. It's a substance, you know, the texture of honey, and it looks like honey. So it's called agave syrup, and that's what we use to put in our margaritas. So tequila, fresh lime juice, agave syrup, and then Cointreau. Now Cointreau is a orange flavored liqueur. And if you're not familiar with Cointreau, think Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier is also an orange flavored liqueur. So say in a Cadillac margarita, you would put Grand Marnier. But most margaritas today, house margaritas, if you get the house margarita, you're going to get a cheapened version of what I just said. Now, at the hotel I work at, we have to make it like that. I make it with a good tequila. Well, actually, I'm a banquet bartender, so that means we only usually have one tequila. So depending on what level of bar you have, there's a lower level bar, a higher level bar, and then the highest level bar. So the highest level bar, we have Patron Silver. Now, people would argue, why don't you have, you know, 1942 or, you know, something great? Okay, well, I don't know. But Patron is pretty good. And then on another one, we have Mar-a-Lago tequila. And then on the first one, we used to have like Jose Cuervo, but people would just really be upset at that. I guess Jose Cuervo is not respected. I always thought it was good, but people don't really love Jose Cuervo. I like, you know, 1800, but I'm not really a connoisseur. I'll drink anything. Now, you really can taste bad tequilas. I mean, you can feel them too. Any kind of low quality alcohol gets you drunk and you feel terrible the next day. So maybe this is what was going on in those speakeasies. But anyway, so gosh, what is our lowest one? Well, right now it's Salsa white tequila, I think is what our lowest one is. But basically, a house margarita would be the cheapest tequila you could get. A sweet and sour mix, which sweet and sour mix is just, you know, like lemon juice and water, but you know, they use all these artificial blah blahs and make it commercial, like Mr. and Mrs. T's and all that stuff, all those kind of mixes. Now at the casino I used sweet and sour mix, but we don't use a mix at where I work now. So we have to make it ourselves, which I always, if I make a sweet and sour mix, I just make it for the drink I'm making. So if I'm making like a whiskey sour that needs sweet and sour mix, or I would put, we have fresh lemon juice. Sometimes I would use lemonade, but because sometimes we have a good quality lemonade. But I will use lemon juice, the agave syrup, and then because lemon juice is so strong, I cut it with some water. And it's the same with the lime juice we have. We have like a concentrated fresh squeezed lime juice, but when you squeeze it like that and leave it in a little, bottle, it gets really, really strong. So I always put a little water in there too. So our sweet and sour mix is fresh lemon juice, a little water, and some agave syrup. And then you put your, whiskey sour or amaretto sour or whatever, whatever you need the sour mix for. And not a big deal. And so a cheap margarita would have cheap tequila, cheap sweet and sour mix, and triple sec. Triple sec is an orange flavored liqueur. It's like a low quality orange flavored liqueur. You wouldn't drink it on your own, on its own. Cointreau you might drink on your own. Grand Marnier you would drink on your own, on its own, over ice or whatever. Some people like to drink it straight, but a good quality margarita will have a good tequila, a good, fresh limes. My colleague will squeeze up fresh limes. She won't use the limes. She'll actually take limes and squeeze them up, which is not a good idea as a bartender because then you run out of limes quickly. You might be at a party that doesn't seem like they're going to be drinking a lot and using a lot of your limes, but then all of a sudden you're out of limes because you've used all your limes to make margaritas, which is stupid. But she'll also put fresh oranges in it as well. Now that's a good thing too. I don't do it because I usually don't have enough oranges, but if you were really, like if I was having a margarita party, that's something I might do, is cut up a lot of oranges, a lot of limes, and kind of do something like that. Not a bad idea. It is rather warm today. It's about 83. The wind isn't so great, so that's good. This trail, I'm feeling this trail more. I just did stairs though in Laguna Beach. There's these rainbow stairs that I did. There's a hill that just goes straight up in your car. It goes straight up. And there's stairs next to it that I noticed yesterday. So I said, I'm going to do those. I'm going to run up those stairs. So I haven't lost any weight this week, and I'm actually gaining weight. Man, I just had a really bad, it's not bad, it's just I had a really strong temptation, and I gave into my temptation, and I had a cheese quesadilla from Del Taco last night. It was late at night. I was hungry. I just wanted it. So this hike, I typed it in my Lose It app, and it's supposed to be about 600 or 700 calories that I'm burning because I walked for like an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes, whatever it was. It came to about look at the sun. Isn't that cool? Behind my head. So it came to about 700 calories. Well, this one tiny little insy binsy teeny weeny little cheese quesadilla from Del Taco was 700 calories. Unreal. Now that's if you make it properly. They probably put more cheese in that. Oh, geez. So stupid. I don't know why I keep being this dumb self-sabotageur, but that's what happened. Isn't this lovely? I like it when the sun's out, but it also burns my face and my head. These brave souls doing these bikes, I just couldn't do it. The other day, this guy was carrying his bike up this, not carrying, but pushing his bike up this little hill. But this hill, see, we just started the trail. This hill, top of the world in Laguna Beach. Stand up in place if I didn't mention it. Stand up in place and walk with me. Anyway, so margaritas are fun to make. When I worked at this place called Tony Roma's, we had a Romarita, and we'd just make everything up automatically. Like we'd make the whole mix up, everything, the triple sec, everything, all of it, and then we'd just pour tequila and then pour the mix in, and that was like simple. And of course, you put salt around the rim. You ask people if they want salt or not salt. People are sensitive. Sometimes I don't ask anymore. I just, some people want it, some people don't. And if they're busy in a conversation and they don't have time to for me to, you know, check back with them or whatever, I will just, what you do is you take a lime, the lime that you're going to garnish the margarita with, you rub just half of the glass. Now, if they say they want salt, rub the whole glass and then stick your glass in the salt, and it will give you a nice rim of salt. Now, it's not table salt. It's like this coarse salt. Oh gosh, it's called something, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's this coarse salt. Oh, shoot, kosher salt, I think is what it's called. But anyway, so what I do, if the people have ordered and they're talking, or maybe I save the margarita for last and the person has walked off or whatever, I will just put salt on half the glass. So I'll just rub the lime on half the glass, dunk it in. That way they only have half the salt. So they're not going to get too mad at you because, you know, and the lime juice will make it stick, the salt stick. But if you use water or something like that, it will fall into the drink. Nobody wants a salty margarita. That's not what they want. They want to have the salt separate from the margarita. So there's the thing. Now, some people want their margarita blended. Now, I'm fortunate because I work at a banquet bar, and that means that there is no blender, usually. Now, sometimes the client will request blended margaritas, and we have to have the engineers give us a long extension cord or find a power so that we can put the blenders together. You know, these poor girls go behind me because they're talking. Okay, so those people were talking. I just wanted to let them get ahead of me because they're walking faster than me. I should be running down this trail. Obviously, I should be running. But anyway, so a frozen margarita. Not too many people want a frozen margarita nowadays, but some do. And sometimes the party, they just want it to be frozen. Sometimes they want you to make a batch of them and put them in glasses so the servers can, pass them out on their trays when people walk in if they're having like a Mexican themed party or whatever. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So you have to kind of make them up in batches. Oh gosh, we've had to make a lot of them. I remember one time we were making them, and oh, she's so many, and we went through bottles and bottles and bottles. We were using the Jose Cuervo that we had, just making bottles and bottles and bottles. But blended margaritas don't really need to have a special tequila. People don't usually mind what tequila's in there, but a good quality tequila is always desirable. But when you're doing it in the blender, you have to put more ice than liquid. You have to see the ice above the liquid in your blender. You'll get used to it after a while. My suggestion is put everything into a little cup first. When you're first starting out, maybe put all the ingredients, except for the salt, put all the ingredients into the glass first so that you know exactly how much all the stuff is, and make sure the ice is poking up at the top. Then dump all that into the blender and then blend it up. And you'll get used to how much, I mean, now I can usually make a perfect pour of any kind of blended drink because I've done it so much. I just know instinctually how much ingredients to put to fill a glass. I usually don't have leftovers. But a good trick is just to fill it up in the glass first if you're kind of unsure. And then dump it in the blender, blend it up, put your salt around the rim, and then put it back into the glass. And you'll have the perfect measure. If you do too much, then you're not getting enough alcohol in there. The people have been paying for the alcohol. Now, a banquet bar, that doesn't really matter because things are already paid for. They're not, you don't really have to work with the cost of it, you know what I mean? As strictly, I should say, because you do still have to work with the cost, and you also don't want to get people too drunk. So try not to do doubles and stuff like that. But a trick I do sometimes, if you've got a guest who is Like, I don't taste the alcohol in this drink, whatever frozen drink it is, because if you've overdid the ingredients, then that alcohol is going to be diluted. So if you pour it in the glass and there's still like half left in the blender, that means half the alcohol is in that blender. So if you've made a mistake like that, what I like to do is just float a little bit of the alcohol on top. This goes for pina coladas or strawberry daiquiris or anything. If you tequila on top of the margaritas, the frozen margaritas, because they'll smell it first and they'll taste it, you know. And if you have a client like that, another trick is just like if they ask for Jack and Coke, and they're not going to pay for double. They're just like, hey, come on, give me a little more. Come on, what are you doing? Come on, give me a little more. What are you doing in there? Start with the Coke. Put the Coke in first, and then put the Jack on top. That way, there's no more room to put anything else in, and they smell it and taste it first, and they're like, oh, it's a strong drink. So that's a little trick I learned. But margaritas are awesome. You can also have strawberry margarita. Now the best is, what I would do is not put as much sweet and sour, and put a little extra, usually there's a strawberry syrup that you use for strawberry daiquiris and strawberry margaritas. And it comes in a jug, and it's, you know, something. Now, you kind of have to have that. If you don't have that, you have to cut up strawberries. Like, you have to cut the fresh strawberries up. And I've had to do that before, and that you go through a lot of strawberries, and the cooks get mad because they've only ordered a certain amount of strawberries. And so unless they've actually requested fresh strawberries, try to steal it. Well, we have a pool, so we have frozen drinks at the pool, so we always we requisition the frozen strawberry mix from them, or, you know, it all works out. But if you have to, you can cut up strawberries and use it, but I just don't recommend it. And if you do that, just put a little bit of the sweet and sour, and put a little extra of guave, so it's sweeter. But again, people really don't like things super duper sweet. Even when they say they do, they really don't want it super duper sweet. But girls like sweet drinks. But again, you don't want to kill them with the sweetener, because it's just too much. It makes you go, ugh. Anyway, so there's strawberry margaritas. I remember we had like raspberry margaritas. We had, you know, different kinds of margaritas. Now, in a pinch, like I said, if you're out of lime juice, if you're out of limes, if you're out of sweet and sour mix, if you're out of everything, you can use lemonade. If you have lemonade. If you don't have lemonade, you know, lemons. Ugh. But that I've had to do that before with a margarita. When I've ran out of limes or lime juice, I've had to use lemons. It doesn't taste the same, but it doesn't taste all that bad. I would rather give somebody something close to what they ordered than say, I don't have that, I'm so sorry. I always try to give a suggestion, even if I'm out of like whatever wine they were drinking. I'm out of Sauvignon Blanc. I do have the Chardonnay. I know it's not your favorite. I could make it a wine spritzer, blah, 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 whatever. But always try to offer something different if you've run out of something that they were drinking. Sometimes a party will only have a certain bottle, a certain amount of wines. Like they might have 6 bottles of Chardonnay and 6 bottles of Pinot Grigio, and everybody wants the Pinot Grigio. Or it's a Cabernet, and the Cabernet just tastes better than the Pinot Noir or whatever else they brought. And so you'll run out of the wine, and you just kind of have to sell the other wine. And if somebody just says, give me a red wine, give them the one that nobody's drinking, because they don't really have a preference. But you don't want people to run out. Anyway, so back to margaritas and frozen things. I remember there was a mango margarita. We had a mango mix the pool had. You can make a pina colada with tequila. It doesn't taste that great. I'm not sure if that's a name for it. But pina coladas are with rum. Let's go into pina coladas now. Let's continue with frozen drinks.